Hello, I'm in the Premier Inn because I'm not a real indie, and I'm waiting to go out to Gamescom to see Frozen Synapse Prime and talk to Double 11 about all the work they've done on that. That's going to be on Vita and PS3 really soon, and hopefully I'll be able to bring you an update on that as well. But I've had a really interesting day today. I went to meet Andy Turner from the band Plaid. Now, Plaid are a really important electronic music act. They're on Warp Records, the legendary label. They kind of defined what people know now as electronica, so electronic music that wasn't sort of purely techno or dance music or anything like that, and big heroes of mine. And thanks to a lot of you guys voting and helping me out with it, I was able to win the remix competition, which they did, which was kind of based around trying to get SoundCloud likes on a track, and loads of people listened to the track and liked it, so thanks very much for that. Anyway, I was able to go out and have a chat with him. But some of the stuff we talked about I thought was relevant to some of the game marketing stuff I've been talking about recently as well. So I thought I'd go through that with you. When I was there, Andy runs all the social media stuff for Plaid, as well as being half of its production duo. So he was there just replying to fans, listening to music that fans have sent him, and also chatting to me, you know, and I was in that kind of position as a fan. And it just really got me thinking about all the different things that you can do to promote your stuff. But we were talking about the difficulty of having time to actually create things versus the time you need to spend promoting them. And one of the things he does is that he annexes a big block of time purely for creating stuff and doesn't do any promotional work at all during that, or admin, and then he will kind of separate that out and just sort of build it into his life. I think it's probably helpful to think about all that promotional stuff as a triangle or a pyramid. So at the top you've got the low frequency, high impact events. There'll be things like announcing your game, launching it, launching the beta, launching the Kickstarter, that kind of thing. Things like really one-off things that aren't going to happen that many times. Those need a lot of effort from you, but they can also bring in, you know, a really big amount of attention. The other thing is, if you kind of go further down the triangle, you get things that happen a little bit more frequently. I'd call those extra credit things, so things like trailers, things like PR stunts that you've done yourself, stuff like, you know, being on a big podcast or a big show. These are things that happen a little bit more frequently, but require a bit less effort, you know, to get going, and getting those right is absolutely important. Trying to find things that are big in addition to your very, very big PR points. Then you move down, you've got things like personal promotion, going to conferences, speaking, being on sort of more minor podcasts, that kind of thing. Again, you've got to build those in at the right time, try and fit that into your schedule. And finally, at the bottom, you've got the low-impact, high-frequency stuff like tweeting, like me making these videos, doing blog posts, things like that. That's a thing that I'm particularly bad at and I'm trying to get better at, but those are the things you need to be doing as a habit. So you find some time every day to tweet, or you find some time every day to blog, or whatever. Now, I see a lot of people trying to do this stuff, and I think they slightly miss the point of it. You have to keep things relevant, you have to keep them interesting. So I know that a lot of people who follow me are interested in indie game marketing and also a bit of the kind of behind the scenes stuff of what goes into promoting an indie game, certainly because a lot of people are starting and that's an area where they don't feel as confident. So I'm making content that talks about that and getting a good response from it as a sort of low impact thing I can generally do. And that just came out of experimentation. Being able to experiment with stuff is really important. I remember one particular indie telling me that he really thought that going to conferences, especially in the US, was a waste of time. But he tried doing it anyway and found out that that's kind of a really good way of rolling the dice in terms of, you know, you might meet someone there, someone who's really important to, you know, in the future a journalist or another indie who has a really interesting piece of advice for you or something like that. That's the kind of more unpredictable thing, and that slots into that sort of lower mid tier of your pyramid or triangle or whatever terrible metaphor you want to use. So I think you have to really think about your audience and you have to really think about keeping it personal. That was the thing I took from Andy. You know, he'd taken the time out to talk to me and he was replying to loads of fans and giving people feedback on their music and just stuff that other musicians absolutely wouldn't do or wouldn't think they had time to do. He had bothered to put the time and effort in, and in return they've definitely received, you know, a lot of stuff from their fans, kind of, especially recently. So I think that can be really, really worth doing if you do it in the right context. So that was just my marketing promotional thought for the day. I'd like to compile this stuff into something where I can go into a bit more detail. I feel like I'm being quite abstract, and it would be perhaps good to give some more solid examples of things and work things through a little bit more. So we'll try and do that in some kind of format soon. If there are indie game things that you're interested in, then please just let me know on Twitter. I'm Mode7Games. Anything really about the making of an indie game or the promoting of it. Promoting stuff is kind of more my angle, and I can definitely talk to Ian, our lead designer on Frozen Cortex, about game design and programming issues and that kind of thing if you're interested in such things. But yeah, I'm gonna keep trying to make stuff like this as long as people keep watching it, even if I'm stuck in the wonderful Premiere in with only my iPhone. I'm going to close this video by showing you something that I consider to be extremely important, and it is a unique feature of the Premiere In. It's not my bag. It is this, the Premiere In chaise longue. Now, what I don't understand is what is this for? Like, who comes to these hotels and it's like, hey, you know what, we really need the same purple chaise longue that we have at home in order to feel comfortable. And are people just lounging back on this, kind of thinking about their life, thinking about what's brought them to the Premiere In? It makes very little sense from a branding point of view. I think every room should just come with a full-size replica Lenny Henry lounging on the chaise longue that dispenses various beverages on command, and then that would be something worth talking about. So that's my final marketing tip. Have something notable, something distinctive, and I'll see you next time.